Hi Seagull class! We're going to do another type of graph today. It's called a pictograph. We can use the categories that we worked on yesterday with our rocks. I'll show you with the categories of shiny and dull, and then you can try it with these two or with another that you categorized from yesterday. So a pictograph is a lot like what you see here, these two columns, except it's rotated a little bit so that the columns are now horizontal. They become rows. We're going to be drawing this on our graph paper or in our math books so that we can have our very own pictograph. Let me show you what I mean. At the top of your paper, you'll write the title of your pictograph. Now remember, the title of a graph has something to do with what you're graphing. It describes your graph. So I will write shiny or dull. Now your title might be a little different. It will be different if you're using different categories. But whatever it is, it should describe whatever the graph is going to show. Remember to always capitalize the first letter of the words in a title and underline it. Now we need to make the key or the legend. The key is like something you've seen in class before, where a symbol stands for something else. So we need to think of a picture that we want to represent our rocks. I think I'll draw a simple rock. And the reason you want it to be kind of simple is because you'll have to draw it many, many times. So in your key, you'll draw your symbol, and then you'll say what that symbol represents. So one of these rocks will represent or equal one rock. If you're using a lot of data, so maybe you have a lot of rocks, you could have one symbol equal more than one rock. For instance, you could have one symbol equal 2 rocks. Then for every rock picture you have, it stands for 2 rocks. So if you had 3 rocks and each rock stood for 2 rocks, how many rocks are you really considering? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You would really be talking about 6 rocks. Now for this example, I didn't have that many rocks, as you remember. So I'll just have one picture of a rock, meaning one actual rock. Then I'll draw a border around my key. I'll write my two categories off to the left on what will be our y-axis. I'll draw the y-axis and make sure that I leave enough room to write the names of these two categories. Shiny and dull. Next, I'll draw some lines that will divide these into different sections. So I'll have a row for shiny rocks, and I'll have a row for dull rocks. Then I'll complete this rectangle to make it look nice and finished. Okay, it's time to insert my information, my data. So remember how many shiny rocks I had? 1, 2. Now since my picture of a rock equals 1 rock, how many pictures of rocks will I draw next to shiny? 2. And I want them to look almost exactly the same, as close as I can get. But of course, I'm not a machine, so they will look a little different. But I think I did a pretty good job. They look pretty similar, huh? So then anyone looking at my graph can see in this category for shiny, there are 2 pictures of rocks. Each picture of rock means 1 actual rock. So I had 2 shiny rocks. Do you remember how many dull rocks I had? 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many pictures of rocks will I draw here in dull? 5. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 pictures of rocks in this row for dull lets people know that each of these pictures represents 1 actual rock, so that they can count that each one of these rocks is how many dull rocks I had. You can also put a border around your pictograph. So that it stands out and looks exciting to anyone wanting to know this information. And there you have it. That's how to make a pictograph. So you can make a pictograph of your shiny and dull rocks using the amounts that you have. You can also do this for the categories that we did on Monday that I showed you, of pattern or texture, or you can do it for a completely different category, like color or size, or something else that you think of. I can't wait to see your pictographs.